Hi, my name is Fiona Saranita. I'm a student of University of Tanjung Pura, and today I will discuss about Chapter 2 of HRM. After reading an article that dealing with strategic HR management and planning from the textbook given by the lecturer, I have added more knowledge about strategic planning, which is the definition of the strategic planning itself and how strategic planning is formulated and executed. Next, I learned about the planning process and human resource factors in SWOT analysis. After that, I learned about the difference between traditional HR and strategic HR. Lastly, I studied how technology changed the world in an organization. After read HR headline about strategic utilization of talent benefit healthcare organization, I've got new perspectives where helping employees able to make the connection between security led to outstanding results for both parties. The approach of lean memorials managers in actively selecting and engaging employees demonstrates the value of sharing information about organizational business conditions with employees and giving them a stake in the outcomes. Putting the survival of the organization on very employees rather allowed Lee Memorial to gain a competitive advantage through effective utilization of its human resources. The strategy an organization follow is its proposition for how to compete successfully and thereby survive and grow. Several different approaches to strategy formation exist. Most organizations have a relatively formal process for developing a written strategy encompassing a 5-year period with objectives and goals for each unit. We might hear the term of strategic planning. Strategic planning is the process of defining an organizational strategy or direction and making decisions on allocating the resources of the organization to pursue this strategy. The process involves several sequential steps that focus on the future of the organization. The example of strategic planning is bank, where we know a bank is the main media for the public to carry out various transactions. However, the competition between banks and any other financial institution is very tight. Therefore, a strategic plan is needed to maintain its branding. The plan is supposed to be based on the bank's vision and prioritizing regulations made by banks based on bank functions, so that there is no party being harmed. And so that the good name of bank is maintained and they've got the solutions to overcome problems. Now I will explain about strategic planning process. It is the organizational mission, which is the core reason for the existence of the organization and what makes it unique. The planning process starts with an assessment of the current state of the business and the environmental forces that might be important during the planning cycle. SWOT analysis is a typical starting point because it allows managers to consider both internal and external conditions. The analysis helps managers to formulate a strategic plan that considers the organizational ability to deal with the situation at hand. The planning process is an ongoing cycle with managers continuously monitoring and responding to change in the environment and competitive conditions. Next, we will discuss about the difference of traditional HR and strategic HR. From the view of organization, traditional HR has narrow-scale application, while strategic HR has broad-scale application. From the critical skills, traditional HR has organization, administration, compliance, transactional, and tactical skills, while strategic HR has strategic, planning, diagnostic, analytical, and consultative skills. From the view of employees, traditional HR has headcount, using cost base and have exploitable resource, while strategic HR has contributors, using asset base and have critical resource. From planning outlook, traditional HR is in short term with low risk and using traditional way, while strategic HR is in long term with high risk and using experimental way. From HR system and practices, traditional HR tend to be routine, traditional, reactive, and response to stated needs, while strategic HR tend to be adaptive, innovative, anticipatory, proactive, and able to recognize unstated needs. From education and training, traditional HR generalists and specialists and have other specialties, while strategic HR is a business acumen and a comprehensive HRM body of knowledge and have organizational development. Next, we will discussing HR factors in SWOT analysis. For the strengths, it will be about intellectual capital, loyal, committed, and adaptive employees, innovative and high-performance practices. For the weaknesses, it will be about the lack of skilled employees, lack of leadership pipeline, and outdated talent management practices. For the opportunities, it will be about the market position, unexplored markets, global expansion, and technology advances. For the threats, it will be about the legal mandates and restrictions, competitor power, economic uncertainty, and talent shortage. Next, we will talk about human capital, where human capital is the collective value of the capabilities, knowledge, skills, life experience, and motivation of an organizational workforce. The importance of human capital in organizations can be seen in various ways. For example, firms with high intellectual capital might have technical and research employees who create new biomedical devices, formulate products that can be patented, or develop new software for specialist use. All these organizational contributions illustrate the potential value of human capital. Still talking about human capital, there is a term of human capital value added, which is an adjusting operating profitability figure calculated by subtracting all operating expenses except for labor expenses from revenue and dividing by the total full-time headcount. It shows the operating profit per full-time employee. Because labor is required to generate revenues, employment costs are added back into operating expense. Now, move on to the next topic about technology, where we know that technology has changed jobs in an organization and some HR must have given responses toward these changes. Related to this issue, to highlight how information technology affects HR management, some chapters containing HR Online and HR Perspective, where it addresses to specific HR issues, ethical concerns, technology, or interesting employer HR efforts. The use of technology in HR has expanded dramatically and is continuing to change HR management activities with executives, managers, and employees. And after visiting the website of World Federation of People Management Association, I will discuss about Canadian government that endorse lifelong learning for the workers. The government of Canada said they will making the largest investment in Canadian history to train its skilled and multicultural workforce for the 2030s and beyond. The Canadian government invests nearly $6 billion each year to support the employment and skills training programs. The report outlines the following priorities for strengthening Canada as a learning nation, namely by investing in emerging technologies in the workplace, while strengthening digital and cybersecurity skills and integrating artificial intelligence or AI into workforce development planning. Next, improving support for underrepresented groups such as youth, women, people with disabilities, Asian Canadians, Black Canadians, and Indigenous people to bring down systemic barriers in their skills development. And lastly, to encouraging more collaboration between employers, educational institutions, and training providers to integrate learning into work. Employers and unions can play a key role in the on-the-job training. The following 6 primary strategic competencies are critical for HR professionals, namely, credible activist that deals with challenges assumptions and offers a point of view, culture and change steward that shapes the organizational culture, makes change happen, talent manager or organization's designer that acquires and deploys talent, embeds capabilities into the organizational structure, strategic architect that recognizes business trends, forecasts potential obstacles to business success, and builds overall strategy. Operational executor that efficiently and effectively carries out tactical HR activities, and business ally that understand the business value chain and establish internal partnership with line managers. Now we will talk about human resource planning, where the purpose is to ensure that the right people are at the right place and at the right time. One of the results of evaluating the implementation of long-term programs can be intended for successful program planning. HR planning as a management process in determining the movement of the company's human resource from its current position to the desired position in the future by using data as a guide for planning in the future. Initial human resource planning focus on several things, and for the implementation, human resource planning must be adapted to certain strategies in order to minimize any gaps so that the objectives are met with reality as well as facilitate the effectiveness of the company to be achieved. Human resource planning should be integrated with the company's short-term and long-term planning objectives so that the company can continue to survive and be able to develop in accordance with the demands of very fast and dynamic changes. After reading a case about pioneers in HR analytics, I made a conclusion that the power of HR metrics and analytics is an untapped resource for many organizations. Human resource information systems are commonly used to capture and store gigabytes of data about employees, but few organizations have mined their data to improve human capital decisions. The use of analytics in human resource management can enhance the strategic contribution of HR executives and lead to better decisions and organizational outcomes. The organization was losing skilled oilfield operators and supervisors faster than semi-skilled blue-collar workers. This discovery led to implementation of training and coaching programs for supervisory employees, which resulted in a 15% drop in turnover and improved the bottom line of the company. Without this analytic approach to turnover, attention would have been focused on retaining blue-collar workers, which wouldn't have delivered such impressive results. At Superior Energy Services in New Orleans, careful analysis of turnover data shattered previous beliefs about which employees were most likely to quit. HR found that the non-tenured staff employees were, on average, too young to begin retiring massively. Tenured faculty, while much older, are far more likely to work past the age of 70. The anticipated retirements are still a fact for USC to address. However, managers can plan for this and develop a longer-term transition plan because they are not facing massive retirements in the near future. That's all I can tell you. Thank you for your kind attention.